Geminis, my loves. Hi, Geminis. Sugarlan, I am medicine. Your Arivan, your mystic seer for the lunar month occurring between the 4th of May and the 3rd of June. And you can see we've got our ancient hand here. Our ancient hand spread is based on cave art, really, and it's based on um, the hand as kind of the compass to uh, the five forms. The five energy is here. So you've got spirit, you've got air, fire, water, earth. Um, uh, it's it's sort of this all-encompassing thing. The hand is just a very powerful symbol of connection, of creation, of communication, of the universe, really, in a lot of ways. So, without further ado, let's just bounce right into it. So, this first finger here, the pinky finger, has a lot to do with crystallization. What things do we want to crystallize within us? What dreams do we want to bring about into existence, or what dreams, is spirit asking about? We've got the spirit of family here. Okay. And the spirit of family is really asking you, wanting to help you get connected to everything that is part of your family. Spirit is the spirit of family. This card is a very all-encompassing card. It's very all-encompassing. We often think of our family as something that is just physical, or as something that is just um, our mom, our dad, our children, our spouses. The spirit of family wants you to get connected to not only that, but also to the family that is your animal guides, for example. Um, the animals that are in the physical world that are part of your everyday life. You may not even notice how connected you are to animals in your everyday life. And I mean that on such a deep level. I'm not even just talking about pets. I'm talking about pets. I'm talking about domestic animals. I'm talking about animals that are out in nature that have been a part of your existence since you were a babe. You know, I grew up with spiders around me, for example. That's a great example. I grew up with spider medicine, in a very intimate way, because they were all around my room. I mean, I literally had walls of spiders all around in my room when I was a kid. I honestly, I really did. Daddy long legs all over the place. I got a funny one. There was one time I remember my mom, my dad, my brother, we were all in this kitchen. I think we were having breakfast, and I swear to you, I was a kid, and I swear to you, there was a daddy long legs that jumped off of the cabinet. It was like, and it was one of them watch out for that tree moments. Except for watch out for the cabinet. It was hilarious. I grew up with spider medicine. Spider has been a part of my existence since I was a babe. Now, don't get me wrong, spider is one of those, that's part of a lot of people's existence. But there are so many different animals out there in the world that have been a part of your existence since you were a babe. Those animals have a spiritual connection to you. It is not an accident that everywhere you turn, you might see that grebe or that flamingo or that rabbit or that eagle or that hawk or those deer or our dog, our cat, our squirrel. It's not an accident. They are spiritually attuned to you. They are meant to be a part of you. They're part of your guides. They're part of what makes you you. Okay. And the spirit of family really wants you to connect to that level of awareness. Spirit of family also wants you to connect to the level of awareness that is beyond the physicalities of what family is. You know, um, That includes your ancestors who have crossed over into spirit form. That includes spirit guides. That includes spirit animals. That includes angels. That includes deities, gods, ancestral deities and gods. If you are from a Norse tradition, for example, or a Celtic tradition, or if you are from an Arabic tradition, Islamic tradition, a Buddhist tradition, if you got that kind of blood in your body, chances are you've got those spirit allies also with you at the same time. And so to really open your awareness to the guides, African guides, Native American guides, Eskimo, Inuit guides, Greek guides, uh, and family members that you are connected to, that your lineage traces back to, that's been a part of you since the beginning of time. And we're also talking about domestic animals too. We're also talking about horse and cat and dog, and see how I just jumped from spirit guides to now we're talking about, domestic animals. Every animal, every human being, this could even go even deeper. Every certain tree. Maybe there are certain plants and trees that are very close to you, that they have spiritual wisdom. They are like a family member to you. They are closer to you than what you have understood in the past before. And you might be this, the spirit of family wants you to become open and aware of the entirety of your family that is around you, not just in the sense of the mother, the father, the grandma, the grandpa, the son, the daughter, the niece, the nephew, although those are important, but the whole package, the seasons. Hey, something such as heat, something such as I love summertime, something such as I like warm weather, something such as I like cold weather. Cold weather could be a family member. Hot weather could be a family member, because it's something that vibes with your spirit, your soul. It amplifies it. I'm telling you, you're connected to everything. If you are someone who loves the sea, the ocean, or if you are someone who loves the mountains, those could be family for you. It's a matter of opening your awareness and broadening your scope, broadening your awareness to all of your relations. The spirit of family talks about being at one, together with all your relations. So let's talk about what's going on here beneath the spirit of family. We get the Nine of Bows, and then we also have the Magician in reverse. So I want to bring this to your awareness, Nine of Bows, just so you can kind of see. All right, and I also want to bring the Magician, or otherwise known as the Shaman. Okay, so I think that there is a blockage here going on. Your awareness is blocked. For some of you, you might be dealing with a con artist. For some of you, you might be dealing with someone in your life who is playing games and playing tricks on you and your soul, and is telling you lies. They're not being truthful, and they're not being honest with you. For some of you, it's a matter of negative thought forms and belief systems that are causing deception and illusion to happen in your life. So the Magician, forever and a day, the Shaman, speaks to different forms of consciousness. And it also is very much heavily about what you choose to believe in your life. And if you are full of negative thoughts, Gemini, and if you are full of negative beliefs, and if you're full of negative ideas, those are going to manifest in your experience. And no matter what, there's going to be a consequence for that. And your life is going to be lived as a lie. You may be living a lie, Gemini. You may be living a reality that is dishonest and untrue and, quite frankly, false. It might not be your reality. Your detriment, the I suck with finding like right words. We're here, so if I pause, sometimes you got to forgive me for that. But your what's the word here? What's blocking you may have a lot to do with your idea of family at this time. It may have a lot to do with your idea of family. You know, friends can be family. We forgot to mention friendships. Those are family members too. On a soul level, everything that is in your life, where you are, who you are, how you are, everything that is connected to you is family. On a soul level, all of it, every last bit of it is family. Every last bit of it. So that's why you've got the human standing at the center of all of these animals and the environment, because it's all family. It's all family. But I think that perhaps with the shaman in reverse and the spirit of family here, I would definitely say that your idea of family is flawed. And that for some of you, maybe it's that you're unable to tap into your true power because you've gimped yourself on what family is to you. Because you have this one idea, thought form, belief system that is gimping you, it is debilitating you, it is a detriment to your life, and it's not allowing you to see the greater power that you have vested in you from your family in its entirety. So the spirit of family really wants to open your awareness, open your eyes. You've got more there than what you think you've got. And the Nine of Bows is really, here we go. Nine of Bows, the Nine of Bows is really, really like, dude, like you're dealing with some frustration right now. There's some barriers that you're dealing with right now, some frustrations that wow. I'm just astonished and I'm just amazed at this whole thing because you're dealing with some barriers right now. But it also says that you will make it through these barriers. The Nine of Bows in this position says that you will make it through these barriers. You will make it through them once you get the higher perspective. Okay, once you get that greater understanding, there's something blocking you, and it's like okay, my thought form, my negative thoughts and beliefs, perhaps around family, may be blocking me from getting through to the other side of my place of expansion, of my place of growth, of my place of prosperity, of my place of wealth, of my place of truth. And but as I begin to recalibrate the mind, my brain, and as I begin to expand my awareness, I will be able to see my way through this blockage. I will be able to find my way through the frustration. I will be able to look beyond what is frustrating me into the truth, that is beyond. That the path that lies before you, your window of opportunity for you to get through is right. You may not see it because you're too busy looking at it from one angle, Gemini. But you need to give yourself permission to look at it from a different angle, or to at least give yourself permission to clear your mind, cleanse your mind, breathe for 2 seconds, and then pop, boom, out of nowhere. Nine of Bows to me is always like that moment where you lost your keys. You can't find them. You're looking in all the obvious places that you would normally look, and the place that the keys are in an obvious place, maybe, or they may not be in such an obvious place. But the point is that they're not lost. They're not lost. They're someplace obvious. You just haven't opened your mind to looking at it that way. You just haven't taken a moment, taken a step back, relaxed your mind, and given yourself permission to, oh, there the keys are right underneath the pillow this whole time. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm taking myself through all this frustration trying to find the keys, can't find them, and here they are right here under the pillow this whole time. So in life, we have struggles, we have paths that we deal with where when we're faced with the challenge, when we're faced with something that is blocking us from being able to manifest our dreams, our aspirations into the world, we want to look at everything that is causing our frustration. We do. We want to look at everything that is causing our frustration. We want to look at that. We want to focus our intention and our attention on the things that are causing us frustration in the first place. And that keeps us from being able to see that there's another way. But the Nine of Bows tells you that you will find that other way once you're able to open your eyes and expand your awareness, expand your horizons to the family that is around you. So what's going on as far as our communications and as far as, new beginnings and things like that happening? We've got the Dancer of Inspiration for you in your place of communication. Ooh, it might be that you might be receiving some information that will help to spark this flame inside of you, which will cause you to rise above obstacles. Wow, we were just talking about how obstacles and frustrating and everything like that going on here. It might be that you might be receiving some sort of inspiring messages, emails, song, something, some sort of legendary. Always with the Dancer of Inspiration, to me, dancers to me always speak about legends and always speak about stories and always speak about feats of strength. So it's always to me about feats of strength. So when I look at that, the Dancer of Inspiration wants to inspire you, perhaps by, getting you acquainted with other people that maybe have been in your position once upon a time, Gemini, and or they may not be in your exact same space, but they may have similar experiences, and there might be certain things within the story and their feat of strength and their legendary, what they overcame and their challenges that they overcame that may inspire you to rise above the obstacles and rise above things that you think are believed to be in your way, um, so that you can be able to focus your energies in an area. So it may be that you might be receiving some messages, or someone might be sending you an email of inspiration, text message, something like that, that is really going to inspire you to take action. So with the Page of Arrows in upright position here, talks about you're learning to communicate. Gemini, I didn't know that you were a baby at communication. What? So it talks about the fact that you are learning communication right now. You're learning what it is to let go of the past. You're learning what it is to grow. You're in your baby stages. You're in your new beginnings. You're growing. You're learning what it is to move forward. You've detached yourself from the past, from the physical or emotional states of reality. Anything that has to do with the past, it's long gone, it's attached. And I'm learning to be in the future, and I'm learning to be a student. I'm learning to communicate. I'm learning to use words. I'm learning to use technology. I'm learning to use different forms of communication, email, letter, I can't forget those the things that they press in there. Oh, you probably don't know what I'm talking about, or if you do, well, then I'm happy for you. I hope that you do know what I'm talking about. But different forms of communication, learning about those different forms of communication, learning how to speak words, and also speaking positive words right now. And then I also get the Four of Stones, which to me speaks a lot. Ooh, no, not the Four of Stones, the Five of Stones. Ooh, the Five of Stones to me really talks about hoarding. Honestly, it talks about hoarding. It talks about not being able to let go of physical things that are no longer serving you, that are no longer doing you any good. Um, uh, there could be a lot of reasons for that. It could be because maybe they have some sort of sentimental value to you, or they might have some sort of emotional value. Maybe they might have some traditional importance to them. Maybe they might be comforting for you. Maybe it might give you anxiety, or it might make you feel really anxious to let go of certain stuff. And so you keep it, you hold on to it, for dear life. You never let it go. It either speaks about that, or it could also talk about, the Five of Stones to me can also speak about jobs that you lost. To me, this is all having to do with physical energy that is no longer good for you. So if it's a job, if it's a car, if it's a pair of shoes, if it's newspapers, if it's a stack of books, if it's magazines, if it's hoarding cats, if it's hoarding dogs, if it's hoarding rabbits, doesn't matter. But what this energy has to do with, is an inability, first and foremost, to let go of physical things. This is a very vain placement. And it also has to do with, perhaps taking things a lot more harshly, than what you should have to take them. Lacking faith, not being able to see that all physical things need motion, they need to move. We can't be in control of everything. Eventually, everything changes, including physical things, Gemini. Eventually, everything changes. So things that we once carried with us in a material, physical manner, we must give ourselves permission to free. Those things have a spirit consciousness, and by the way, too. Everything has spirit consciousness. Pretend that even the inanimate objects in your home all have spirit consciousness. And if you are a growing person, aren't you going to want to go exploring? Aren't you going to want to go searching and being? Now, I had someone once upon a time tell me they don't believe that physical things, objects, have spirit consciousness inside of them. But in my mind, with all due respect, in my mind, everything is spirit, so everything's got spirit consciousness, and it's just that simple to me. If everything is spirit, everything's got spirit consciousness, and it's really just that simple. So those things might have been different forms of consciousness, family members for you, Gemini, who maybe it's just their time to move on. For those of you who may have lost a job or a car or, something like that, maybe it was just time for you to move on. Maybe that's the thing that you might be having stagnation about, is that you are failing to see how that job was not serving purpose for you any longer. Once upon a time, maybe it did. Maybe once upon a time, it had purpose. Maybe that home, once upon a time, had purpose. Maybe those old clothes that have been sitting inside of your closet or your attic for goodness knows how long, maybe once upon a time had purpose, but they don't got purpose for you no more. Okay? So it's time for you to move on from that. And the Page of Arrows is saying, yeah, I'm learning how to detach myself from physical things. I'm learning how to move on. The Dancer of Inspiration is inspiring you that this is a feat of strength for you. May not necessarily look like it, may not necessarily sound like it. When we think about feats of strength, what do we think about? We think about heroic. We think about swords and shields, and we think about doing something, battling a monster, battling a demon, facing them. What if the monster was the doubts or the spirit of possessiveness, the spirit of doubt that is living inside of you right now? What if the monster or the demon happened to have been that job or that house, that you're so attached to? What if that was the monster? What if those were the demons? And what if your sword was the sword of inspiration? What if that is your sword, Gemini? And that sword that allows you to rise above the physical, rise above all challenges and obstacles, gives you permission to let go, gives you permission to have faith even in the darkest moments of your existence when you're dealing with physical losses in your life. This card, the Five of Stones, to me is all about creating space. All you're doing is creating space for something new to come. But you can't create that space for something new to come if your mind and your heart, your feelings and your emotions are still tied up in the past. So What is going on here with your, speaking of feats of strengths, challenges, competition, taking actions, aspirations? You've got the dancer of lies. Gemini, it is time to get down to the rot gut truth. The dancer of lies says that you have been holding on to lies, and you may not even be aware of it, Gemini. You may have been telling yourself lies. Look, I'm pointing at the shaman, the magician. You may have been telling yourself lies all this time. You may have been acting from those lies. You may have been your every move has been from a place of deception and falsity. Everything that you've done might be from that space. And it's time for you to let go of the weight. It is time for you to drop the weight, Gemini. It's time for you to face some harsh, cold truths that will serve to free you, because you are blinded right now. You cannot see the way ahead because you are blinded by all these things that you feel like you need to carry. You feel like you need to carry them. You feel like you need to keep them, you know, in eyesight. You think that you need to keep them at the forefront of your mind at all times. These things are not serving you. They are not helping you. Your job right now is to get clear about that by learning, by analyzing, by looking at everything that you think, everything that you believe, all these ideas and thought forms and belief systems that are not serving you, so that you can be able to see your way out of the shadows and into the light. Let's talk about the cards that are happening here. You've got the Three of Vessels, and you've also got the World card. Gemini, first of all, let me say you've got some things to learn. There's something that's blocking you from being able to complete and fulfill. And it might be the lies, the burdens that you're carrying may be blocking you from being able to complete and fulfill whatever goals, dreams, aspirations that you have in mind, that you are trying to fulfill in your life right now. The Three of Vessels talks about really taking a moment, Gemini, to give yourself permission to appreciate your gifts, appreciate your family, appreciate the people around you who love you, appreciate the people who you love, appreciate the strong connections that you have between yourself and your family. Appreciate your ancestral gifts. Appreciate your ancestral bonds, your ancestral skills, your ancestral talents. My mom was a singer, so it's just as likely that I love to sing. My mother was a singer. Her mom was a singer, right? Those kinds of things. You know, my eyes look just like my father, right? My skin is the same skin tone of my father, or my favorite grandpa, or my great great grandpa, or my great great uncle. You know, the Three of Vessels is talking about really taking time to appreciate and love what you have, your skills, your talents, your gifts, who you are. Really give yourself permission to do that. Um, you know, and I think that in the end, you will be able to do it once you get clear about the things that are no longer serving you. And once you get clear about the things that are no longer serving you, I believe that you possibly, Gemini, will have completed whatever achievements, aspirations, goals that you have been trying to set out to complete all this time. So let's talk about what's going on in your area of feelings and emotions. So I've got the Spirit of Wisdom, who is saying that emotionally right now, feeling wise right now, I really want you to get some knowledge, gain some knowledge on what you feel, on what you believe. I want you to understand the emotional wisdom that is connected to your experiences, that is connected to the things that you participate in. There are certain feelings that you get from this, um, that can be applied, that have practical value for you. They can be applied in a practical way. They have practical value for you. If it's a matter of discernment, if it's a matter of understanding, okay, I notice that when A, B, and C happens, this is what I feel. I notice that when D, E, and F happens, this is what I feel. So if I want to do blah bliggity blah, I had better do A, B, and C. If I want to do that other thing, I had better do D, E, and F. Really, really getting down and practical about it, but also seeing the higher wisdoms, the wisdoms of the entire universe are vested into your feelings and your emotions. I had someone once upon a time tell me that our emotions, our feelings, are the closest connection to spirit, because they're hidden, because they are not as straightforward and as understood as words and letters are. Their feelings, their emotions. And when we're working with spirit, spirit speaks to us through our feelings, and speaks to us through our emotions, and speaks through us through our imagination. This is also in the placement of imagination. So this is also learning how, this is psychic wisdom, emotional psychic wisdom. That's what we're trying to tap into with this emotional reading here. Then you've got the King of Stones in reverse, and you've got the Nine of Stones in reverse. Wow. All right. I've had to set up before, actually, but this is showing up a little different. The King of Stones is really speaking about someone who is very oppressed. And this whole thing, I'm just going to say this whole thing, is really speaking about someone who is very oppressed. They're very oppressed emotionally due to physical things happening in their environment. Either someone is being very controlling of them, or they have this need to be in control all the time and not allow themselves to surrender to chaos, not allow themselves to surrender to chaotic wisdom. Because spirit is chaos. Spirit lives outside of time and space, right? So spirit is chaos. Spirit lives outside of the mundane and the physical, and yet also lives within it at the same time. It's quite the paradox. And so trying to be in control because of fear, because of doubt, because of holding on to past identities, whatever the case might be, okay, it's keeping you away from being able to surrender, to be able to see spirit for what it is, for being able to understand chaotic wisdom and emotional wisdom and psychic wisdom, because I'm cut off from spirit with displacement. Also, my body, my physical possessions with displacement are taking a toll is being taken on my physical possessions. I don't always say words right. You're gonna hear me repeat that a whole bunch of times, Gemini. I don't always say stuff correct. I'm just saying. But my physical things, because they are lacking in emotional connection. Let me tell you something. Water serves the physical. Water serves earth. Water moves through earth to bring life, to create life. Earth gives water the structure in which to move in and be contained in, but water gives the path. Water enhances earth. Drinking water enhances the body. It cleanses the body, it cleanses the spirit, and water is connected to emotions. So, the disconnect with emotions, ultimately speaking, the disconnect with your own pure feelings, your own pure emotions, the disconnect there, and the contamination and the corruption of your feelings and your emotions is what's causing you to disconnect, and what's causing this detrimental. It's a detrimental consequence, or the result is detrimental in your material physical world. And you really need to give yourself permission to have a spirit bond, which is an emotional feeling connection, because a lot of how spirit communicates with us is through feelings and through symbols and signs. So let's talk about, last but not least, we've got challenges, and we've got, wow. So there, speaking of challenges, okay, the spirit of initiation is coming in, and it's really trying to initiate you to really see things differently. First of all, what is initiation? I mean, initiation is basically there to open a door, right? It's meant to open a portal, a gateway, a door. It's meant to introduce you to something. It's meant to, yeah, introduction. It's meant as an introduction. It's meant to introduce you. So the spirit of initiation, and it also speaks about ritual, right? Ritual of initiation, right? Initiation rituals where you get acquainted with. So once again, introduction. So the spirit of initiation speaks about introducing you to the different forms of consciousness that exists in spirit. Um, the different forms of consciousness that exist in spirit. So let's talk about what's there. The Ten of Stones, home. Wow. That's a little deep for me, because it really speaks about Gemini, the spirit of consciousness that is fulfillment and attainment. What is that? Who is that spirit? What does that spirit guide look like? What do they sound like? What do they feel like? How do you hear them? How do you sense them? You know, do they speak to you through stickers on a wall? Do they speak to you through shadows? Do they speak to you through the trees? Whatever the case might be, Gemini, the spirit of initiation would like to introduce you to your dreams coming true. Would like to initiate this process of helping you to make your dreams come into physical reality. So this process, Gemini, it really challenges things that you know. It really challenges things that you believe. It really challenges things that you think. It really challenges that. It challenges it to alter it and to change it so that you can begin to see, think, and believe differently. Because it may be that you can't see your dreams becoming fulfilled. But the spirit of initiation might be saying, in a different light, in a different perspective, if you learn to see things from a different viewpoint, you will see how your dreams are becoming fulfilled. Maybe not necessarily in the way that you thought it would be, based on the old outmoded paradigm or thought from a belief system. But your dreams, they are materializing. They are coming true. And you get to have this moment of appreciation. But it's all a matter of what you believe, which brings me right back to the Magician card, where we started. My thoughts create my reality. Your whole hand. My thoughts create my reality. Your thoughts create your reality, Gemini. What you think, what you believe, it creates who you are. It creates everything in your existence. Everything in your existence. That's your medicine for this time. I truly do hope that this information, that these insights from this lunar month have served you in some way to help you moving forward, and has created an opportunity for healing for you in whatever shape or form that looks like for you. I love you very much, Gemini, and I look forward to serving you again in future readings. I got Lenore.